lambs, I just wanted to come on and give you an update episode. This update episode is on the Evelyn Boswell case, and this was a case that I did back in March of season 5, so this season. If you didn't hear that episode, you could actually click on the link in the show notes below. But real quick, before I go into the update, I'm going to give you a TLDR on what this case is about. But I do advise you to go ahead and listen to the full case before we go into the updates. Link is in the show notes below. So a 15-year-old baby named Evelyn Boswell had vanished for about 2 months, and no one ever knew she was missing. When an Amber Alert finally went out in February 2020, her mother, Evelyn Boswell, fed police a parade of lies. First, that Evelyn was with her dad, then she was with her grandmother, and then she was with a, quote, trusted person. So if you want to hear all of those lies and how they figured out they were lies, again, it's in the full episode. After 17 days of searching, investigators found Evelyn's body inside of a trash can, wrapped in a bag and aluminum foil, hidden in a backyard playhouse on Megan's father's property. The medical examiner said she had likely died from suffocation. Megan's fingerprints were on the trash bag and the foil. In February 2025, a jury needed only a few hours to convict her of first-degree murder, child abuse, neglect, and more. Jurors set her punishment at life in prison with the possibility of parole after 51 years. So that's where we left off, but prosecutors had wanted to push for other charges that were made against her, so they wanted to get some more jail time for her. So that's where we left off, and then we're going to pick up at the update. But before we go into the update, don't forget that this podcast is listener-funded, and it is sponsored by my lambs in Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. Love and Murder brings you episodes weekly about relationships that have turned to murder, and I, Kai, try to be the voice of the victims. I try to report on the cases based on the way that I think I would feel if this was happening to my family. So you would hear some ranting and raving within my episodes. If you like what I'm doing here, then don't forget to subscribe on whatever platform you're on. You could also subscribe in the Patreon for free, where you do get a couple of benefits for being a free subscriber, patreon.com/Love and Murder. But if you want bonuses, case files, bonus episodes, and you have the ability to be the voice of the victim as well, then choose one of our bonus tiers starting at only $3 a month. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. Now let's get into this Evelyn Boswell update. And don't forget, if you haven't heard this case or you forgot about the case, the link is in the show notes below so you can hear the full case and you can hear all my rantings about this case. Now, the update is, as of Friday, which was basically yesterday as of this recording, September 5th, 2025, the judge stacked on an additional 33 years for Megan's non-murder convictions, and he ran them consecutive to the life term. This is basically what the prosecution was pushing for. And the translation of this is, whatever theoretical parole math existed after 51 years, for Megan, just got buried under another mountain of time. So, backstory to how we got here. At the hearing, Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy reminded the court his officers worked around the clock for roughly 18 days, about 740 investigator hours, chasing leads that would have looked very different, quote, if Boswell had told the truth from the beginning. Lieutenant Matt Price was shown the recovery photos. Evelyn compressed headfirst in a trash can and one of the last images of her alive. So it just basically told the court the whole story. Look at the last picture of her alive and look at how her mother put her in this trash can as if she was trash. Megan then took the stand to say that Tennessee, quote, treated her very unfair. She claimed that she would have been acquitted with a fair trial and an impartial jury. Well, that's what the jury were. They were impartial. They listened to your story. And you got to go back and listen to the case. I'm telling you, she's acting like she didn't do anything wrong, but listen to all the lies. Listen to what she did. Megan insisted, quote, I would have never hurt my baby. Then why did you hide? Okay. I want you to listen to the past episode. The state answered with what actually mattered at sentencing: conduct, evidence, and risk. Deputy DA William Harper argued that she was a dangerous offender, pointing to how Evelyn's body was handled, Megan's callous post-death trips, her months of lies, and her total lack of remorse. Clearly, she's still claiming that she's innocent. Judge Jim Goodwin agreed, out loud and on record. He accepted key enhancement factors, such as Evelyn's age, 15 months, the nature of the crime, and the disposal of her body. Quote, there can be no more cruel act than to stuff a 13 to 15-month-old baby wrapped in blankets and aluminum foil in a trash can, especially when the baby is your baby. He noted Megan's age as a minor mitigating factor, but then pointed to the proof that she saw a chance at a different life without Evelyn and removed her from her life. He also said, quote, this court never once saw remorse, never once saw empathy. So she is a dangerous offender. Society does need to be protected from the evil that lurks in her heart. Damn! Imagine being told that by a judge. So this is what Megan got broken down. Aggravated child abuse and neglect merged, 25 years to be served after the life sentence. Tampering with evidence, 6 years, concurrent with the 4-year false report term, but after the 25 years. False reports, 11 counts merged, 4 years, concurrent with the 6, but after the 25. Abuse of a court, 2 years, concurrent with failure to report, but after the 6-4 block. I know this sounds weird, but it's breaking down each charge and how they got to the total 33 years. Failure to report a death, 2 years, concurrent with the abuse of a corpse, 3 murder counts merged into 1 life sentence with parole eligibility after 51 years. So this is like all of her charges. I'm sorry if y'all heard my cat just meowing. The court also formally classified her as a dangerous offender, like I said, which is the legal key that lets a judge stack sentences back to back like this. So Megan will serve her time at a rehabilitation center in Nashville per the court officials. A status hearing is set for January 16, 2026, which is probably going to be a virtual trial. For anyone wondering about the defense, Megan's attorney argued that she'd been jailed since she was 18, has no prior criminal history, and that the jury's life with parole verdict meant she should have a chance of life outside of prison. But the court said no. Not with all the evidence, not with her lack of remorse, not with the fact that she never took accountability, not with the fact that she never said sorry, not with the aftermath, not with everything that was piling up against her. The court said no. So bottom line, the jury's life term, paroled after 51 years, now has a 33-year term bolted to it. So, by U.S. law, this is how she's dealing with the consequences of what she did to this 15-year-old baby who never stood a chance. And that was the update of Megan Boswell. What did you think of that? Did you listen to the previous case? If you haven't, the link is in the show notes below. You'll see why I'm angry. You'll see why the judge is angry. You'll see why the prosecution's angry. We can't really say anything for the defense because it's the defense. So let me know your thoughts on this case and the update. And thank you for listening all the way to the end. Go ahead and join us over in the Patreon if you also want to be a voice of the victim and a sponsor of Love and Murder. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. Thanks for joining me this Saturday on this update case. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.